Earlier this week, Facebook dipped its toes into the virtual reality world with the surprise launch of Spaces on Oculus. Sam Miskovich from Ars Technica is here to tell us what he thinks. Welcome to the show.
Hello, hello. Happy Friday to all of you in the real world. Well, I mean, you seem real. I'm looking at you on a screen. I don't have the thing right here. We're talking about Facebook VR, right? Isn't that where we're at?
That's where we're at. It's hard to tell anymore, isn't it?
Well, I have been using it a little bit. Facebook Spaces was teased last year at Oculus Connect, which is run by Facebook. We've got, the combination Facebook Oculus Beast. And this app rolled out after Mark Zuckerberg announced it this week at the F8 conference, not to be confused with Fast and Furious 8. That's a different F8. This is a less interesting one. But yeah, be careful, by the way, to whoever's playing this video, because it has inappropriate stuff in it about halfway through.
What happens in VR stays in VR.
Nope, not when I'm using it. But the idea is that Facebook Spaces lets you connect with other people on your Facebook, in your Facebook group, your friends list, and hang out. Up to 4 people can be in a single chat room instance, and you all pop up around a table, and you have a few tools at your disposal. You have a pencil, which lets you draw 3-dimensional objects that you can then pick up and wave around with your hands. It lets you grab media from your Facebook feed, and that's about it.
What do you mean grab? Like I could grab like my favorite dog photos or videos and throw them around, or?
You can grab your images and videos and 360-degree image and videos if for any reason you own a compatible giant camera that's in the Facebook format for 360-degree video, and throw it into the room. You can hand it off as a little photo. It looks like a little photo, and you hand it to other people. You can actually grab a selfie stick inside of Facebook VR and hold that up with the other virtual participants and go cheese. And you can call friends of yours who are not in VR and have them appear as little tablets. Kind of like the cheesy thing where there's a tablet on wheels, only there's no wheels. It's just a little floating tablet, and you see their webcam feed, and you move it around, and you can show them whatever part of the virtual world you want. So you can show them your virtual face, which is made up of an avatar that you create yourself. You can show them the 3-dimensional things you've drawn. You can show them photos, 2D photos that you have floating in your fake 3D world. There's a few of these tools, but not a ton. They're all linked to Facebook. It's not a bazillion things. It's just a few things.
Well, Sam, I want to know how you feel about the avatars. Having tried this out and being an avatar in this virtual world yourself, they look pretty goofy. They're like halfway between a Muppet and like the little Wii characters you find on the Nintendo systems.
I will tell you, the Me characters are, as old as they are way more robust, which is really sad. In terms of what you can create that looks like you. You have a tool set of limited eyes, nose, ears. You only get 3 ear options, for example, if you're an ear enthusiast. Too bad, so sad. So the customization is pretty bad, and it also wants to auto-generate an image of yourself. Video watchers can see myself testing it out right now. You can generate a thing from your own photos, but it doesn't let you pick from all of your photos as of press time. This is a beta, and they make that very clear that it's totally in testing. So the auto avatar generation stinks. However, once you are in with your not quite accurate avatar with limited hair options and limited color options and things like that, what's really interesting and what Facebook app already nails in this beta is the liveliness of these avatars, between how their hands move around, how their joints move around, how eyes make eye contact and faces are lively. Because as you talk while wearing your headset in VR, your little VR person, their mouth moves pretty decently. It doesn't completely convey emotion, but it works. That's me eating a pizza on the video feed, by the way. And I think that's really impressive because there have been other VR chat things. And what I think Facebook nails here that some people may not appreciate is how creepy it can look if you don't get things right. If eyes don't move in an interesting or realistic way, if mouths don't move in an interesting way. Rec Room, I think, is the best example where faces look just like little creepy dolls. And I think this finds that right balance between being animated and being kind of fake, because they're not going uncanny valley. It's definitely cartoonish and Muppety. And yeah, I was really impressed already in beta how that's working.
Tell me about the laughing, because we've seen these videos at as you mentioned, at F8, at Oculus Connect last year, and it seems like every time someone laughs, they all laugh the same kind of weird, like creepy, gigantic mouth, like throw your head back kind of way. Are there any other options for laughing, or is it just everyone laughs that same way?
Well, you're not really having your laughs truly recognized. You're holding down directions. This, by the way, is Oculus Touch exclusive, which means you need to have the expensive Oculus Rift headset, a high-powered PC, and the hand controllers called Touch. You can get a Rift and Touch controllers combination for $600, and that's without the computer. So when you're holding these little touch controllers in your hands, you can touch with a joystick. That's not visible in this demo here because they hide the joystick part. And you press that in certain directions, and your face will just light up with like a shocked face or an angry face or a laughing face. So it's not recognizing how you talk or the volume or things like that to show emotion. It's just recognizing whether you're talking and then sort of animates accordingly, which is still, to me, pretty impressive. But they're going to need to get a lot more advanced stuff in terms of face tracking and things like that. And Oculus right now does not really track your face in a realistic way.
I can't help watching this video. It's really fascinating. So you said there are limited hair options. Did you get to choose like a Bitmoji, or did it just look at all your Facebook pictures and then make your avatar based on all the photos that you'd pasted?
It looked at my 6 most recent ones that I tagged as myself, which I don't generally do. Other people had tagged them. I don't like giving Facebook that sort of data. It didn't let me go in and individually pick out any of my Facebook images. That was so after that, I could then tap on my face with my virtual finger and pick out certain features that look a little more like me. I really struggled to actually get a beard because I had to press my hand in the just right way in order to like touch my beard. So that was a little annoying. So it kind of worked. The guy in this video demo is Kyle Orland. He's another Ars Technica guy. He looks pretty decent. He kind of looks like Justin Timberlake, though, is the problem there.
Well, I mean, we've had Kyle on the show before. I think he looks like him. I think they did a good job.
And everything in motion is better than everything static. So screenshots and motion are totally different, in my opinion. By the way, on the video, I'm right now putting a 360-degree image in the scene, so it's a beach, but it doesn't look 3D. It really looks like a snow globe. So that's an issue with 360-degree photos. So I suppose if you want to share those with people, this is a better way to do it than to like invite them to your house and slap a cardboard on their face. But it's got limits.
So yeah, you have to have an Oculus. You have to have the full Oculus setup. You have to have a Facebook account, obviously. So what if you wanted to? I mean, how would you go about? I know you and Nate were supposed to meet in Spaces, but something you didn't.
We just weren't. We were on at the wrong time.
Yeah, one of you blew each other off. I don't know to say who.
Skyping is already tough enough without having to also coordinate. Okay, put on your VR headset right now. But the other issue is that when you're in the VR world, there's no keyboard. I cannot send messages to people. All I can do is send them voice call requests, which is super annoying because when I first got it, I tried to communicate with friends and they all said, "Why are you calling me?"
Yeah, that's what happens. When someone calls you through Facebook Messenger, you're just like, what? I mean, when someone calls me anytime now, like, why are you calling me on the telephone?
Right.
All right, well, let's move on. There's a new Rick and Morty virtual reality game that brings together Job Simulator, which is one of my favorite VR games, and then a game called Accounting, which I have never played and frankly does not sound fun. What can you tell us about this game?
Wubba-lubba-dub-dub. It is time to get your... Jan Michael, oh God, what's that? Jan Michael Jordan. There's a lot of dumb Rick and Morty related lines and quotes and in-jokes I could rattle off. And the reason I would do so is because this is fan service to the extreme. And what I mean is, this is like almost 2 full episodes of the TV show. Wow. In terms of the amount of humor and the amount of original writing and the amount of callbacks to things that you're familiar with in the series. What happens is you get slapped into VR and you do things that are similar to the game Job Simulator, which means you're just grabbing things with your hands and throwing them around and kind of goofing off while the characters from the show are barking orders and commands at you. And they're doing it in Rick and Morty fashion, which means you're a Morty clone. And because you're a clone, you can be killed, and you're killed almost instantly and then brought back to life. It's just the kind of thing where someone who is completely unfamiliar with the show would say, this is kind of weird and abrasive. And a person who loves the show would say, "Oh my God, Rick from Rick and Morty just killed me. That's so hilarious," because he is the sadistic, nihilistic weirdo. So it's really not that interesting in terms of gameplay if you're not familiar with Rick and Morty. If you jump in, it almost instantly makes you feel dumb for not getting the jokes and not being familiar with stuff. That being said, if you are a Rick and Morty fan, what's really cool, in my opinion, is how much original scripted content has been delivered for this, meaning they're not just taking gags from other episodes and slapping them in awkwardly. They really understand this is not the 90s when licensed cartoon games were terrible. There's a certain amount of quality you can get if you just do some original writing and legwork, and they did that. There's throwbacks to things that are from the show. For example, the Meeseeks characters who are supposed to do your bidding and then die, they are there to do your bidding and then die, and it's really funny and clever the way it's done. And there's other little Easter eggs and hidden bits about the series, little magazines that are tucked away we can grab that refer to things that were from the show, that repeat some gags. And then there's one virtual reality inside a virtual reality moment, and I'm not going to spoil what it is, but it's just this goofy fan service sort of thing that I really enjoyed. So the biggest hurdle I would say is, if you don't already own a VR kit and you're a huge fan of Rick and Morty, is this worth, $1,000, $1,200? No. But if you already happen to have plunked down for VR stuff, you already had all the kit, and you're a big fan of Rick and Morty, this is $30, easy $30 to spend. It's a tiny bit pricey, but it's a combination of unique jokes and you being the second person mover of the comedy, which I think it gets right.
So I'm a huge Rick and Morty fan. It's like literally one of my favorite shows ever. When you speak about it being scripted and feeling like 2 full episodes of the show, is it the sort of thing that is kind of nodding to season 3, which is going to be coming pretty soon, and we've been waiting a long time between seasons 2 and 3 for this, Rick and Morty fans. So is it that sort of thing? Is it kind of hyping up that, or does it really stand alone as its own kind of self-contained story?
Both. It doesn't refer to season 3. They aim a little bit higher, and that's as much as I want to say before giving away any jokes. But it doesn't seem to be the kind of thing that's required to watch the show as much as because Rick and Morty, what's sort of brilliant about it is that it's got that Doctor Who sort of feeling in which every episode is kind of standalone, even though there is lore and other stuff that is developed over the episodes. Because it is this sort of sci-fi wackiness where you just warp to different places and get it. So yeah, you don't need to play this in order to enjoy the show. But I don't think it's good to stream it. I don't think it's good just to go on Twitch and watch someone else do it. I think you do miss something if you are not doing these things yourself, because there is a playfulness and a silliness to being the person that Rick and Morty are shouting at. So steal a VR kit if you need to. It does work with the HTC Vive and with Oculus Touch. You got to have one that lets you walk around with your hands as controllers. So no Gear VR, no sit down with a gamepad. You need one of those 2 specific rigs in order to get this to work.
So what's the replayability like on this game? Is it the sort of thing that even if you are a Rick and Morty fan, you're going to want to play multiple times? Or is this kind of like you've gone through the experience and that's pretty much it and it's over?
That is a one and done kind of experience. It is not, there's the thing about Job Simulator I really liked is that it has a lot more to do in terms of playing around and making your own humor. This is more of you are working with the dialogue, reacting to it, and it is kind of one and done. And I'm a guy who likes to play episodes of Rick and Morty over and over. I feel like I've seen the pilot episode maybe 27 times. So I don't think this does as well to strap back into and relive again, except for a couple of the snippets. So there's certain parts I guess you could replay it multiple times, but it's just not as cozy as, hopping on your couch and tapping play episode again.
I have a Rick and Morty general question. I love The Simpsons, but I hate South Park. Would I like Rick and Morty, or do you need more comparisons than those two? Are they not like either of those shows?
I'm not really ready to recommend this to you, Megan.
Okay.
Okay, Sam.
One, I feel like that could come into your heart, but it's not. It doesn't. There's a balance between Community is a much better comparison point, but wackier than Community. Community always went back and forth between really wacky, makes no sense, and heartfelt friends and family stuff coming together. And Rick and Morty is similar, but it has more of the wacky, a little bit less of the heart, but just enough of it. Dan Harmon from Community is on here and sort of grounds things in this human, funny, family, emotional way. But it is also super nihilistic, and people just are killed, and things are just thrown out in this really messed up nihilism humor. That would be an important phrase to respect and understand before you jump into Rick and Morty.
Yeah, tell me if you think I'm wrong here, Sam, but I feel like it's kind of a mixture of Back to the Future with South Park to a certain extent.
Oh, okay.
The Simpsons is great, and there are some similar sensibilities there with the family concept, but it really is kind of the relationship of Rick and Morty, and Rick is like this mad scientist, and Morty's like the dumb teenager who goes along on his adventures with them. And that changes over time, but that's really the core of the show.
Okay.
Do you think that's about spot on?
I mean, I think there's a little bit more of the Community aspect in terms of the humor, but absolutely the Back to the Future sort of any. I mean, the show was originally created as a really messed up satire of Back to the Future with a cartoon about Doc and Morty, or Doc and Marty. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but do not try to watch it at work.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. All right. Thank you.